Deep Dives with DeGroot, a podcast where we find out everything there is to know about our topic of the day, with special guest stars. Hello and welcome to the first episode of Deep Dives with DeGroot. Now, I love to read and I love to write and I love everything in between. So today, I have one of my good friends, Ava Acevedo, here to talk about how much she loves to read and write. Trust me, I've read her work and she is so talented. My first question for Ava is, how long have you been in love with reading?
Well, actually, in elementary school, I had a very hard time reading. I actually had to go through vision therapy, so I was quite discouraged. I wasn't able to read really well, but it wasn't until probably grade 5 when I went through my vision therapy courses and I was able to read a lot better that I picked up my first kind of big book. It was The Land of Stories by, what's his name? Chris Colfer, I believe. So that was kind of my first time, I guess, reading or falling in love with reading.
When did you kind of start writing and starting to do that on your own? Because obviously you have to write in elementary school, high school, whatever. But when did you start doing it on your own?
I would say grade 6. We had to do a short story segment in, I think it was like a Halloween themed or something. And so that was the first time I wrote kind of like my big first story. I don't even remember what it was because it was so long ago and something so small. But I think that was the first time that I really got praised for my writing. And so I thought, oh, well, this is kind of cool. I guess I'm good at this. And it just kind of started from there. I do enjoy it a lot. I think it's a very calming hobby. Kind of, I guess, well, let's be real, we dissociate, go into our own world in our own heads, but no, it's quite lovely. So I would say, yeah, grade 6 was definitely that time.
Would you think that you write more fantasy and like nonfiction, or do you journal? What do you kind of write most?
Definitely some poetry, a lot of journaling, how I'm feeling about a certain thing, and then I would say, yeah, fantasy, but also just a lot of alternate universes, like our universe with different characters or whatever.
Do you see yourself continuing to write in the future?
Oh yeah, my goal is to publish a novel someday.
And what kind of novel would that be in your mind?
There are so many stories that are just floating around in here. I don't know, it's just whatever, I guess, comes out. But I feel like I can write the best at that time. I guess if I have like my world built, my characters, and a good solid storyline, and if I think that people can learn from it and, love it. I don't know if it will be fantasy. I don't know if it will just be set in our world, I guess.
You mentioned like just if it helps people. What do you think is like the main thing that you get out of reading?
Sometimes movies and TV shows just bore me because I can just see it in front of me. And so reading gives me a time that I can pretty much make it up by myself. And the way that I read is it's like a movie is playing. Actually, a funny story. One time I was reading a book and I had to go to the kitchen. So I got it from the couch and I went back down and I sat down and I literally picked up the TV remote and I hit play and then I realized I was reading a book.
You really just switched up on yourself.
I know, but truly that's what it's like for me, but it's nice because I can picture it my own way and I find that a lot more entertaining.
What is advice that you would give to somebody who doesn't read right now or doesn't write, is wanting to, or just kind of thinks that it's too late for them to get into reading?
Obviously, books have ratings for a reason, especially the content, but I think there's absolutely no shame in, if someone isn't a heavy reader, is to pick up books that are more simpler with dialogues and maybe not as long. I feel like a lot of adults are maybe discouraged because it's like, oh, I'm reading a kid's book. No. Especially like fantasy books like Percy Jackson. Actually, I had a classmate of mine. We were in our English class in my second year of university, I believe. And he said, no matter how old I get, I absolutely love the Percy Jackson books. I'm like, exactly, because that's the whole point of books, is it's to give people an opportunity to learn to read and use their imagination. So I would say to not be discouraged by picking up maybe more simpler books. Also, graphic novels are a great way because they include pictures and text. I know a lot of people maybe struggle with tracking on a page or something like that, so I feel like having that as a visual aid is a really good thing to help them with. And then for writing, write what you would want to read. That's something that I tell myself all the time, is if you're enjoying it, then that's a good sign that you're on the right track. If you absolutely hate what you're writing, and if you're writing for somebody else, then that can just be awful. So definitely write what you want to read.
Well, that seems like all the time we have for the first episode. Thank you so much to Ava for coming in and talking with me. I had so much fun, and you have definitely inspired me to go out and read some more. Thank you all for listening to the first episode of Deep Dives with DeGroot. I hope that you enjoyed and that you'll tune in for the next episodes. See you next time.